the funeral and the wake was amazing, eh? Like it was crazy for me to see the impact that he had on so many people's lives, like, and just people from everywhere that came to support our family and pay their respects to Justin, and some of the messages that I heard people saying were just, it's crazy. It just opened me up to the impact that he had on everyone's lives, and I knew like he had that impact on my life, but I it was so good to see the impact he had on everyone else's. But yeah, after that, we had a game on against Tweed, so it was back home where all our family played and lived, and I thought I was doing him. I thought I was doing the right thing by trying to play and doing it for him, and I was using a lot of emotional energy to sort of power myself to do that. And I remember the game. Actually, I can hardly remember the game, but I remember trying to play, and I was a mess. I remember one of the I was like crying out in the field, like just couldn't believe, my head wasn't in the game at all. And one of the Tweed boys slapped me on the bum and said, "Mate, keep going. You're doing so well." And I remember that now. Like it was a pretty nice thing for him to do. But at half time, I got into the sheds and I broke down, and all the Mackay boys got around me, which was a pretty special moment. Gave me a cuddle and said, "Mate, we got you. Let's get back out there." And we went back out and finished the game. But I think I realised then that I wasn't in the right headspace to finish the season. And I had a good chat to my coach, Kim Williams, who's a very good coach. He's a very good people manager, and he was more he was more worried about my well-being and making sure I was okay. And footy didn't come into it. Obviously, it was a tough time because, as I say, we're in contentions for the finals, and I was a halfback, but I just wasn't going to be doing myself a favour or the team a favour trying to play on. So I ended up moving. I left Mackay and moved back home to be around family, and just like, you go through something like that. The first 6 months is just a blur. You just need to surround yourself with family and friends and just try and get through that time. So that was the most important thing, was just getting back around family.
Do you remember the hardest moment within that first 6 months?
Oh, not particularly, to be honest. It was all tough. The funeral was probably the viewing. The viewing was something that will stick with me forever. It's the hardest thing I've ever had to do, and I'll never forget it. And the funeral was the same. It's burying your brother who you're best mates with. It's something you should never have to do, and that was the toughest part, because that it all became real then. Like it was I think reality hit me there, that this was the last time I was going to see my brother. So that was probably the hardest part. And from there, it's just, it's a constant battle. It's a constant battle to push through what you're going through, and trying to, life doesn't stop. When tragedies like that happen, life doesn't stop, keeps going. So, you have to try and find a way to keep going with it. Otherwise, you get left behind.